That is for anybody for whom that happens. I have the belief that you're not ready to have the real conversation.
Okay. Facebook
You
and
know,
interact. Like, yeah.
I'm a fan of the unfollow. We can stay friends, but I don't have to see what you're saying.
Indeed. I have removed Facebook from my phone, in part because I go for a
Yeah,
while. Yeah.
I talk to people all the time about this, and what keeps me balanced is that the people, at least in the people that are in my world sphere, on social media isn't the way to move forward in your thought around things. It isn't a way to dialogue. It is only a way to debate. And at the same time, as a social media user, there are people.
The reality is, you could be great if you adjust your usage. Is that what we're talking about today? Is that what we're taking away from this?
Yeah, well, let me say this. So I don't think that social media is the primary focus. I think that's a big part of it. I think that's a contributor. But I do think, to go back to my big picture, which and my sharing about my life and stress, is that I think there are things that we, I and us, need to think about. What are the pieces that we really value and what's important? Do I need to be doing all of the things that I'm doing? And if I do need to be doing all the things that I'm doing, how can I be self-compassionate? How can I be realistic? How can I create relationships or networks in order to maximize my resources to facilitate those things? I think that for me, that's more important.
It's
Yeah.
funny you say that. A few years ago, started going through my life and taking personal inventory. And this is something we've spoken about privately as well. But I was doing things because I felt I needed to do them. And a lot of that centered around doing things for other people, which I'm doing your work. I'm walking through the airport carrying all your luggage, and you easy breezy looking at, the Starbucks, wondering if you're going to get a latte. My hand's so full, where's my latte at, right? So I was doing a lot of that. And the interesting thing was I was defining it as me, as mine, as my struggle, my issues. So I'm walking around and I'm dealing with the fact and stressing out the fact that, oh, you don't have money to pay your rent. And that was as emotionally significant to me as me making sure my own rent stays paid. Until I really sat down and said, let's think about the things I don't need to be a part of. And I started systemically letting things go. When I tell you the weight that was lifted by just coming back to the central point of who I am and radiating outward instead of looking outside and saying, this is who I need to be. This is what I should be suing. This is what it means to be a man of this age in the entertainment industry. I need to have check this tick box, check this box, tick, 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 all the way down. When I let all of that go and started redefining, well, this is really what I want to do. This is who I want to be. And this is who I want to deal with. I lost some friends. Okay. I lost some followers. But I lost a lot of stress.
Mm-hmm.
Ashe. Right? Right? Because now I'm no longer living and doing things for other people, their happiness, connecting myself, involving myself in all their stuff. Now it's about, okay, I'm going to go through and make sure that whatever I'm doing for me. Thus the comment you said earlier that I said to you, if I don't get anything out of it, I'm not going to do it. It's actually made me a more engaging person, a better friend, a better partner, better
Well,
comedy.
we would have to talk
Doopy
to your partner
D.
about
That's
that.
my Doopy D.
Just so you know.
You know, you're like a, wait a minute. I didn't know that you were a coal miner. Take me back to that. Takes me back to that Sherelle song, "Artificial Heart." Your father must have been a brimstone cutter because he molded you in his image. Why are you so in my doobie deeps right now? Shout out to you, Sherelle. Hashtag Flashback Friday.
Flashback Friday. You know, I like to keep it trill, as they say down in the
That
and there we got to go
would be
deep.
an understatement. You keep it frosty trill. You got to give a brother a warning. Hey, I'm coming. You just like, boom, I'm here.
No.
What?
You can't let them see you coming.
Right.
No.
Right.
You just got to be there. I think that that's wonderful. See, I was about to throw shade and I choked on myself right then.
Because
God,
the
I was about to be
universe
so shady
don't want
towards
it. Like my grandmother, rest in peace, used to say, God don't like ugly, baby. Don't do it. Don't do
I was
it.
about to get shady, so let me move forward on that. But what I think you're describing is exactly, you know, what I would prescribe, right? As a therapist, as a psychologist, is that to go back to basics. And I talk to my clients about this. Really, for me to do an examination of what it is that I value, what is important to me, and if the things that I'm doing in my life are consistent or reinforce or demonstrate that value, then usually, even if I experience stress, which we all do, I'm not trying to paint this picture that nobody, like the goal is to not experience stress. You can't be a human and live a full life without experiencing stress. But the goal is to not succumb to the consequences of chronic stress and to not move into ways in which you experience distress, or to try to mitigate those as much as possible. And for me, it's when you can really be clear about what are your values, what is core to me, what's important, and then how in alignment is the things that I've committed myself to, the things that I'm responsible for in my life with those values. If they're not, then maybe it's time to rethink them, let them go, start to detach yourself, move away from. And then if they are, how do you then engage in them in a way that continues to be energetic for you, that continues to be self-fulfilling for you, that continues to provide a sense of well-being and health for you? And so I think that's the other part about it, is that not only are we all trying to do too many things and be too much, but our expectations around how to do that are so high. Right.
And just to add a piece to that,
yeah,
especially when it deals with other people, letting go of the guilt. You know, a lot of us find ourselves stuck in ruts because there's this complacency that's come in. I've always been this person. I've always been this person in relation to other people, be that a caregiver or provider or whatever it happens to be. And people have begun to rely on you to do certain things for them or whatever.
Yes.
The reality is you kind of have to look at yourself and say, how much of this am I doing for other people? How much of this am I doing for me? One. But two, in your taking care of other people and not taking care of yourself, are you really helping them? Maybe
No.
you're enabling, right?
No, the answer is not.
Right.
Maybe. The answer is always no.
Right.
You know, I mean, and we have all of these adages, right? You can't pour from an empty cup. Put your mask and oxygen on first before you help somebody. We have all of these common metaphors and phrases.
Wait a second. Did you just give me?
Yes.
Did you just give me flight attendant instructions?
I did. Honey.
That is a psychological tool. Talk about using your metaphors. Put your oxygen on first before you turn to the next. How are you choking and giving me air? It's just absolutely.
But for some people, things are so misaligned for them, the expectations outward towards others and caring for others, and I see this happening a lot among Black women, that the focus is so much on the other, and that, like, there's this almost synonymous expectation for taking care of family, like to be a good whatever, daughter, spouse, partner, sister, cousin, whatever, then that means you are always engaging in this self-sacrifice, and it's quite frankly ridiculous. And hashtag, I'm not here for it.
Hashtag,
and so
I know you're not.
And so I like that piece that you pull out too, that other people come to expect it for you, because there is a push-pull. There is a set of expectations. You know, no one operates in a vacuum. And so there is always another party that would want, because again, that person is strolling through the airport, sipping on a latte real smooth while you're burdened down, and it benefits them. Right. And so to change the system, to start to shift, to pull back in the ways that you described, or to start to reconsider how to align your life to be in more alignment with your values, personal beliefs, and needs, your own health, putting that first, all of those things sometimes doesn't look real good on the outside, because people get in their feelings. Right. Or it may look like you're neglecting, or it may look like you haven't fulfilled some responsibility. So the outside facade starts to crumble. And I always tell people, like, whenever you make change, that's what therapy is about. Fundamentally, therapy is about the business of change. So whenever you're in the process of making change, it does not come without loss. It does not come without consequences. The challenge is choosing what those consequences are and being able to be prepared about how to mourn them if they are ones that are really hard sacrifices or consequences to deal with.
Does it also mean that you have to change your ideas around what is great and start looking more internally as opposed to externally, or is there a way to have a balance there?
That's a good question. I think there can be a balance, and I think having an internal sense of stability and clarity around yourself has to come first. So let me say it this way. There could sometimes I have this experience in my professional world. Just experience where I see somebody else doing something and I'm like, it didn't even occur for me that I could do it that way. Or, dang, they elevated the game, and let me see how I can be about that. I think that's where the social comparison can come into play and be a healthy way. But the reason why that can be healthy is because I have a clear sense of where I'm headed. And I have a clear sense of like, okay, and so then the conversation for me becomes, all right, I think X, Y, and Z are my strengths, but I know Q, R, and S are not my strong suits. So if I want to get to there, how can I manage that for myself, right? So I'm still approaching it in a way that puts me first and that is realistic about how I want to do things. I think that if you're like setting things up, I'm going to give an example. Early on in my career, there was a student in a doctoral program that I was working in, and they were struggling. They were struggling to finish. It was kind of, if anybody's going to graduate school or knows about going to graduate school, you don't have forever to get that PhD. There's a clock that starts when you're admitted, and usually most graduate programs have a time limited frame on that. And this person was getting down to the wire. I inherited this person. And they just weren't completing the goals that, were set for them to make sure they were able to finish. And so in having conversations with that person, I asked, like, why are you doing this? Like, because maybe this degree isn't for you, because all of your behavior is not aligning with someone that is motivated to get this degree, because you're not doing the work. And all the person could say was, I just want to be Dr. such and such. I just want to be Dr. such and such. I'm going to be Dr. such and such. So I'm going to finish this degree. And my feedback was like, that is such a shallow answer. Like, you could change your name to Dr. such and such and have people call you that. I think Dr. Joy, didn't we have like a radio host that was like a doctor something, but she wasn't really a doctor or something like that?
You mean Dr. Ruth?
No, Dr. Ruth was a real doctor. Wasn't she like a doctor of sexology or
I
something?
think she was. That's her
Don't talk
business.
about Dr. Ruth like that.